What is up, folks? Casual Dad here with another quick Warhammer Combat Cards recording. I'm going to keep this one pretty short because I do have to get back to work. Hush, hush. But today we have our first campaign with the Boarding Actions tag, which is totally new. And cool thing about this, so there are some modifiers on this. Special requisitions, you get 150 deck points and 6 bodyguards. Note that that is neither the full max number of points or the full max number of bodyguards. These are going to be small decks that you play as and hopefully against. And then it only lets you use HQ, Troop, Elite, and Infantry or Bulky. So no vehicles, no flyers, no nothing like that. And card types, let's talk about that real quick. So if you're jumping in here, shows me the requisitions there. Whenever you want to know what keywords a card has, you can click on the card, go to your Info tab, and then this thing right here, you flip that and it shows you their keywords. So there are campaigns occasionally that will do keywords. Usually it's just a keyword gives you a bonus, or you don't get a bonus if you don't have that keyword on the card. But in this case, you can only use cards that have specific keywords. For me, a small deck, I immediately am drawn to Greyfax. And so we're going to spend as few points as possible, and this is a pretty typical campaign, so the difficulty is going to ramp up, so we'll get a couple rounds to kind of play around with it. And the flashing border, I believe there is also a secondary quest. That's going to show me what secondary quests are in here. This should also only show me cards I can actually carry. Yes. Okay, so no vehicles, no flyers, none of the bigger kind of beefy stuff. So we are running Greyfax. We want to keep the points low. And I've talked up how good these guys are, and I'm leveling them up, so they're in a decent spot. But let's go ahead and go real cheap. And I'm going to sort of lean on melee, just to really get it in theme with the boarding action. I'm going to run real cheap. I'm throwing a taunt, why not? Oh yeah, we need someone to lead the boarding action, of course. Yeah, and then someone with a little more oomph. Those are some shields. Let's try it. A little shielded Ogren. That'd be exactly the guy you want at the front of your boarding action. And then let's try it. Let's see how it looks. Dun, 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 dun. This again is brand new. We've never seen this game type before, I think. And one of the things that I really enjoy about Warhammer Combat Cards is I'm a total fanboy of Games Workshop and Warhammer. It's one of the big things that draws me to the game. But I don't have all that much time to play Warhammer. So it's nice to have a game to play that kind of scratches the itch. And, of course, this is level 1 of a campaign, so this is going to be pretty boring. So we're going to chainsaw through these real quick. And he's going first. Interesting. It is against Orcs, which is up there on the list of factions you wouldn't want to board their ships. Probably third. I think first I would not want to board a Chaos ship. Second, I wouldn't want to board a Tyrannid ship. And then after that is Orcs. Of course, Space Marines are scary and all, but they're kind of standard scary. They're not going to, like, the ship itself isn't going to try to eat you. I hope. But yeah, and the reason I talked also about the fandom, well, that was easy. The fandom with Games Workshop is this boarding action thing also coincides with a box set release, a new kind of game type coming out from Games Workshop that is the boarding action sort of mini scenario. So this being in theme with that is cool. And that's one of the things I always appreciate about the developers on this, is they keep these games in a little bit in the pulse of releases from Games Workshop. So if you don't get a chance to go out and actually play the game, you can at least kind of tinker around with the cards. Checking that. Okay. So I had left a lot of points unspent, but because the total is reduced, Greyfax's bonuses are a little bit less than they would be normally if I had the full 200 points. So this deck will do fine in the first couple rounds, but I may toy around with this and experiment with some others. Especially because as much as I enjoy Greyfax, and she's extremely powerful, it's always a bit of a bummer not using all of your points. So. Alright, easy enough. Tinker around with some decks. I saw some other folks mention Magos as someone else who would be good on this, and that's true. One of the kind of weird things about this is all the other warlords, actually, I think, yeah, literally all of the other warlords rely on your cards dying, and I'm hoping that they don't die. So I'm just going to tank this up. Let's do the most expensive beefcakes we can do. I was laughing to myself about this. That it is Servants of the Emperor boarding action, but really the cards that make the most sense are going to be your Custodians, who are basically Space Marines. With so few points left after that. I already have an Inspire. I don't have an Inspire. Alright, now let's bring you back. Oh, this guy. There you go. And then 11. Yes, I know exactly who to spend 11 points on. Oh, no! Nope. Well, of course I can't bring my 11-point Krieg Cavalry in this. Krieg Cavalry. Well, that changes things. 11 points, what are we going to do? Yeah, why not? Throw a little mincing there. And I've got 3 points unspent, so I could go up to 10. I don't really want to. I could go up to 26. What do we have at 26? You know what? Let's throw an assassin in here. Why not? We already have shields elsewhere. There. Yeah. And then I could go up to 42. No point in doing that. And I could go up to 30. Ooh. What level are you at? That's pretty low level. He's fine. No, we're going to go ahead and stick with the shield guy. And the reason I went with Yarrick is he's just the cheapest. I don't expect his ability to trigger at all, at least in the first couple rounds of this campaign. Later on it may be a little bit more, I assume that later on it's going to get a little more difficult. But for the moment, the first few rounds are... Laughable isn't exactly the best word, but I can't figure out another one. Because things are just not scary in the first few rounds of these campaigns. Which is fine, I get it. It's a really nice way to make it more approachable for newer players, so I do definitely appreciate these. But also there's a pretty significant time investment to get to where it gets interesting. But this one, ramping up, is nice because it doesn't give you any kind of level bonus. So if you're starting out in the game, you want to participate in this, you'll be playing with the cards you have at their level. So I appreciate that. This campaign isn't necessarily for me. I really like the ones that have strikes instead, because you start out at your max level cards, and the first rounds, like the first games you play, have really good rewards as you win them, and also they are difficult right from the start, so you don't have these kind of warm-up rounds. But again, I understand why they're doing this, and it's totally fine. I appreciate that this is being done. Gotta make the game approachable for all people. Gorg's Foot. Yeah, so you've seen boarding actions, you've seen the way the modifiers work, you've seen the decks that are available, you've seen how to check which cards you can use. One thing I didn't really highlight, I mentioned it briefly, but the cards in your card selection pile that have the glowing silhouette, those are the ones that will give you the free card stacks. So those are the ones you want to lean on to get the free card. For me, I don't particularly care about that card, so whatever. But for this, and especially in the early rounds, there's so few enemy cards that it doesn't really matter. You're not going to get that much progression anyway. But usually, especially in a ramping campaign like this, I start with a max bonus deck, so I'm getting the most stacks of those free cards as possible, because the first few rounds are not particularly challenging. Even for a brand new players pick this up, like today, they could relatively easily chainsaw through these first few rounds. Goodbye. Splat. Okay, so we've done that. Let's go ahead and take a look at that bonus card again. I'm going to go ahead and probably finish this out. Let me take a look at the rewards for this one. So this guy, Stromian Grell, he's a good standard card, really good range damage, very cheap, so he's a great filler in Greyfax decks, and he has precision shot, so he can do significant damage real quick, and he's only 6 points. So if you're looking at getting free copies of the card, this is a good one. And like I was saying, when you're doing your deck building, you can see some cards have that glowing silhouette. So you're only able to choose cards that meet the restrictions of the boarding action. The glowing silhouette is an addition that also gives you bonus percent. Let's see, where is that? Yeah, infantry. So if your card has the infantry keyword, it's going to have a glowing border. It's going to give you that 25% extra to your score. So for every 4 cards you kill, each card with a glow, or each card in your deck with a glowing border gives you an additional kill. So it definitely ramps it up very quickly if you have a full bonus deck. And then let's take a look at these prizes. Captain Badrock, great. Badrick and Yarrick, look at that. Now, I feel like, to keep it in theme, I would have been happier if that was, oh, what's his face? Gazgul. Excuse me. But, that, if you're boarding a ship with Gazgul on it, that really ramps up how much you do not want to board that ship. But also, he's oversized, so I don't think he would actually fit in the restrictions of this game, so it makes sense. Alright, that was it. Hope this is fun. Enjoy your boarding action game, and until next time.